Hello everyone, welcome to this new tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to make pop-up tulips. I have them here in color, and as you can see they're really big, so it's hard to fit them in frame because I have my camera set up for this tutorial. I'll show them from below. So these are tulips that use pillars, and for the stems and the flower heads have these more boxy round shape. I really like this technique, and there's a lot you can do with this. For example, I've made this crow or raven that also uses this sort of pillar. I'll show it from the back. So as you can see, it also has this pillar in the center and a tiny platform on top. So this technique, this mechanism, is very useful for all kinds of pop-ups, and the most known one is to use this for flowers. And I have to give credits to Paper Blossoms, because this is the first book and the only book I've seen this technique. Maybe also in trade, I'm not sure. I don't have that at hand here. But this is really, really big. There are sunflowers in this book that use also the same pillar technique, as you can see. So this base mechanism is really nice to work with, and I've used it to make tulips and a bird, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make these. I have a template file prepared that you can download. It's in the video description of this video. And as you can see, I have 4 pages here that contains all the parts and the cover. And for this tutorial you will also need a self-healing cutting mat. I'm going to use a ruler because we need long straight lines. It's also very important for this tutorial to use a scoring pen or tool, something with a dull tip. I have scissors, double-sided tape. We're going to use that a lot. You can also use glue, of course, that's up to you. I have some masking tape for the cover, 2 types of knives, X-Acto knife, hobby knife. I'm using a geometric triangle for scoring lines, and a folding bone to make sure I have sharp folds. These kind of pop-ups work best when they have sharp folds, and they operate very smoothly when these folds are sharp as possible. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is to score the lines of these 2 pages. You don't have to print out page 1. So I'll put that aside. And the most important scoring lines are these long lines for the stems. And this stem is really fragile and also long, so we're going to add some extra layer to it, and here also double layers. But it's important for this complete pop-up that you work precise. So what I would like to advise is to not put your ruler exactly on top of the line and score there, but to just put a little bit aside of the line, the dotted line, the scoring line, and that way your scoring tool will be positioned in the exact center of this line. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to score these lines. These are really long lines, so I'm using my cutting ruler for that. Like so. Also these tabs. And these 2 and these 2. Alright, that's the stem. Now for the flower head I'm going to use the geometric triangle because it's a little bit easier to work with. So let's start with that. I push firmly, not too hard. otherwise I would damage the paper, which isn't good. And we're making this on white paper today, but you can of course print this out on colored paper. And the paper we're using is 80 lb, and that's what I recommend for this one. Don't use too heavy paper because it will make it harder for the pop-up to work and to fold out. So I'm going across all these scoring lines. Again, it's important to do this really precise. Like so. Don't forget these two parts. Already did that. Alright, now the next step is to cut this all out. And I've prepared that to save some time. Let me get it here. Here are all the pieces. And the two covers from the last page. And for this it's important, of course, to cut this in half, but also to cut out these tiny slots which we're going to use to attach the stem to. I'll put this aside again, so we're going to work with this. I'm first going to make the cover for this card. I think I will put some tape on the outside here. This is just masking tape. And I'm leaving a little bit of room, as you can see, between the two sides of the cover. That's also important because when it shuts, there has to be room to bend over for the tape. I'll show you how that works. So this needs to bend, and as you can see, there's a little bit of friction. When you're not using this tiny space between, it will get too compact and get in the way. Getting my folding bone, make it really sharp, and we have our cover prepared. There it is. We can cut this off. It's not perfect, but it's fine for now. Now let's start with preparing the stem first, and therefore we need these three parts. We're going to attach the leaves for the last step. So let's first fold this over. Let's start with the center of the stem. That's this part. Part F. Alright. I'm being very careful here. Make sure I'm not denting anything. Make sure those lines are super straight. Same on this side. Now this stem, as you can see, already has 3 layers, which is quite a lot for a pop-up. And we're also going to attach this tiny piece, which is the 4th layer. Also make sure to cut these out. Those are not dotted lines. Alright, let's start with this flap first. Therefore I'm going to cut long strips of double-sided tape. Which can be quite tricky, but I've practiced this a lot, so I'm already used to how annoying this can be. There we go. That's one. With a little bit of cat hair. Of course, there's cat hair on my project. Right, I fold it in. So there's tape on this side here. I fold that in. And now I fold this inwards like a zigzag. So this one is folded over. I'm going to put tape on the single side here, all the way to the dotted lines, not here because those are glue tabs. And this pop-up, it's not really complicated, but it's a bit tricky. So I hope this tutorial is clear, that you can follow me step by step. Some black paper, it's fine. And I want to be sure it goes all the way up to the dotted line, so I'll just put a little bit of tape here. Do the same below here. So now I'm sure it's covered in tape over the full length. So I'm going to close that too. Now I have a strip with 3 layers. I'm going to push these out, do the same here. Now let's also attach this part. More tape. Perfect. Now it doesn't matter which size is up or down. Those tabs are 15mm on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I pick one side. This is going to be the bottom side of the stem. Attach the extra layer to it. And we're going to cover this up with a leaf later on. But there you have it. Now we need tape on the bottom side, so let's do that. Just put tape on both tabs. And this is all just really straightforward. I have the cover here. Now I'm going to position the stem, align it with the dotted lines, and make sure it's in the exact center of the page. So it looks like this. All right. Now let's do the outside, the sleeve of the stem, which we need to fold over. I'm going to fold it inwards so we don't see any dotted lines, but that's okay, it's all just fine. Let's make sure this is really straight. Make a sharp fold again. And these sides are also double, so we fold these over. Add a little bit of tape. Again, over the full length of these tabs. Actually, those are not really tabs, those are more like extra layers. A little bit more tape. Right there. All right. There you go. So I fold these over. There's tape on this side and there. Let's do that. And now we have a a sleeve for the flower. I'm going to fold these out. These two. So it looks something like this. All right. Now these tabs need to go through these slots. So let's first prepare those with tape. I'm putting those on top of the tab. All right, first one here. That's one. There it is. Okay, tape on both sides. Now we need to set this up and make sure it's straight. So first of all, this sleeve really needs to fit very tight, and as you can see, it fits perfectly in each other. So to accomplish this, I'm going to first put these tabs through the slots very carefully. I can't dent anything or it won't work. Careful. Right. Now I'm going to push this in position. Squeeze it a little bit. Hold it in position. Now I'm going to shut the card and not pinching too hard so the center can move. This way I can look at how it lays on the page. So I'm making sure it's in the exact center, or we won't have a straight flower or tulip. And now I push down these glue tabs. Let's see what we have. Looks good. So we have a pillar with a sleeve. Now we're going to connect these glue tabs. And let's see, I think the best way now is to attach. Let's see how that works. I fold these sleeve tabs, I fold those in. These two. And that's how we're going to glue them. So we only need glue on these tabs of the center of the stem. Let's add tape to that. That's one. That's two. It's good enough. Right, there's tape on the tabs of the center of the stem. Going to fold these in, and these two. And I'm going to tuck it in a little. Be careful. And now I'm going to close the card. Oh, I made a mistake, sorry. We first need to close the card. And get this in. I need to be very careful. There it is, okay. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, but this is how it should be. All right, there we go. We help it a little bit. So you have something that looks like this. As you can see, this already operates the stem. All right, that's number one, the stem. Now let's continue with the flower head, which we start off as a box. Let me fold it over. So this is the first one, second one. I'm not gonna count them all, but you get the point. I'm just folding over all the scoring lines. Use my folding bone to make the lines, the fold really sharp. There you go. Now we're going to close this box by adding tape on this tab and this tab. So let's do that. Tab number 1. Tab number 2. And I'm gonna fold it shut. It should be something like this. All right. Next we are going to, let's see. Let's first attach these. Going to start with that. And these tabs fit exactly on here. So we only need to add glue on these sides or tape. Let's do that. And you can pick your own order how you build this. And sometimes I'm making this for like the 10th time and I still discover ways to build it in a better way, but let's try this. Let's try it this way. All right, now we have something that looks like this. All right, next we're going to attach these. So let's fold this over. And the tabs need to fold back, like so. So make sure those are straight. Always check if you're making straight folds. All right. Now let's put tape on these sides of these tabs. And the way I came up with this shape of this tulip hat is, it's somewhere in my uploads. It's a purple abstract shape, pop-up shape, which looks a bit like an award. I think I named it award. And the basic shape of this award, it was a box with shapes attached with, and the basic shape of this award is what came out as the basic shape for this pop-up flower. Anyway, I like to put this in and make sure that the tabs are folded like this. And this tip of the flower needs to align with that tip. So we're going to put it like this. And I also want this fold to not align with this fold, but just a little bit in. Did you see what I... There, this is not how we want to do it, but this is how it should be. And again, these tips should align. So I'm going to put this in here. And when you're doing it right, there's a little bit of space between the box and this leaf. So we're going to do the same with this one. I really hope everything is clear. I'm pretty sure it is. And if not, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'm doing the same here. See? And now, as you can see, there's also, if you've done it right, there's a little bit of space between both glue tabs. This one is a little bit too high, but it's fine. So now we have this. All right. Now let's attach these to the sides. Therefore, we're going to add tape to the corners of this box. Let's see, I'm going to use just this. Half strips will be enough. So don't put glue or tape on the complete surface of the sides of these boxes, of this box, just on the corner edges. And I can now make sure I take this part. So again, there's glue here or tape, and on this side I hold it like this, I fold this like so, and I just slide it over and make sure this line aligns with this line and this line aligns with that line. So I really want to have that as a perfect fit. It should look like this. Okay, doing the same on this side. And then we're almost done. I'm going to attach the leaves, of course. We're 3 steps away from the end result. Okay, fold this over. There we go. Align it. And to prevent that there are 2 folds overlapping, this is open and the fold continues here, so they work together. Now we have this flower head. We're almost done because we want this dome shape for the inner leaves. And therefore we have these 2 tiny bits of paper, which in the template file are named E. I'm going to fold these. And there's one really simple trick to attach those. I need really tiny pieces of tape for this. Let me prepare that. Okay. Save that for later. This is really tiny. Okay. So there's tape on both sides. Let's do the same here. That's one. I'm pretty sure it's hard to see, but there it is. Now to make this work, we are going to tuck this in here between these 2 leaves, the inner leaves. So we start with this side. And I found out that the sweet spot for this position is to put it like this, but on the inside. And do you see how it aligns with this line? So we're going to use that distance to position this here. Like so. Is that good? Good enough. I'm doing the same on this side. So again, as you can see, it's almost in the length of this line. Carefully closing it. And now when we open up the card, it gets this dome top, as you can see. All right, now let's attach this to the stem. And let's prepare the stem first by adding tape on top of these platform tabs. Let's do that first. That's one. And that's two. I'm going to shut the card. As you can see, it already closes, so I'm going to very carefully align it, tuck it in, make sure it's in the center of the page and it's straight. It came off, hold on, let me do that again. I think this looks good. I'm holding it flat and I'm making sure that this is pushed in all the way to the fold. As you can see, it's really in there. Okay, so let me do this one more time for real. All right, so firmly push. Now we have the tulip. Now I'm going to attach the leaves. And there are two sizes of leaves. One is bigger. I like to put this one on the bottom side. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut off a small strip of tape. Cut it in half. Put it on the side of this leaf. There it goes. Now I'm going to take the tulip and just put it somewhere here below. Align it with this line. Push firmly. This also helps to make the stem even stronger. So if you're counting with me, we have 2 layers on both sides of the sleeve, 4 layers in the stem, plus 2 layers for the leaves. And this will make a strong flower. The other smaller leaf, I'll put that a little bit higher. Something like this. You can play with this yourself, of course. And now we have this, and this is already basically the pop-up tulip you saw on my channel. Let's see, let me open it, help a little. See? All right, now for this to really work, we're going to add a double cover. Let me do that really quick. Cut this piece of paper in half. And I just realized this is the same green as my cutting mat, so it will look horrible on camera, but that's just for now what we have to work with. I'm sorry for that. All right, 2 halves. This is 80 lb paper. This is just 1 step heavier, about 100 maybe. I'm going to use double-sided tape to cover it up. No pun intended. I think I need 2 strips. Number 1. Number 2. Maybe a little bit more. All right. I'll do the same on this side. And I really like to give my work double covers because pop-ups work best when the cover is really hard and heavy. So if you're working on a pop-up and it's hard to get it right, just make sure your cover also is strong enough to operate it. I'll just put a little bit of this tape here on the edge, which is also good enough. Now let's take off these sheets. And then we're ready to add the double cover. Now let's try it from this side. I like to use a knife to take them off. Now I'm going to lay it like this, position it like this, and carefully curve it up. Which is quite off, as you can see, but that's okay. I'll cut it clean. You can also use a bigger cover, of course, for a pop-up like this. This is really small. That's one. That's two. Let's do the same on this side. I will cut this clean. Let's do that roughly. There you go. I'll do the same on this side. See, right. Now using my cutting mat grid to align my ruler. All right. There you go. Let's see how this works. And there you can see it now stands by itself. I can lay it flat, don't touch it. We have a perfect pop-up tulip, which barely fits into frame, but there you go. This is still one of my favorite flower builds because it's so mechanical, but also because of the shape of the tulip head, which is a bit more complicated than normal, but also a lot of fun to make this. So as you can see, this works really well. It's strong, you can wiggle it. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a super good mechanism to make other stuff like the bird I showed you. And again, if you print this out in color, you can make arrangements like this one, where I've made a slightly shorter version of the stems, which you can do by making them like 2 or 3 centimeters shorter. And there's here is this extra tent that creates double folds. So that's it, the pop-up tutorial, the pop-up flowers tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll enjoy making this. And let me know how it went. And if you like this video, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.